Facebook world, YouTube world, World Wide Web, buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. You have stumbled right into Kari's Corner, and I am so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us today. As usual, if you're new to the program, my name is Kari Cooper. I am the English Language Program Coordinator for Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions. We do this every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Wherever else you are in the world, that time. Too many time zones to go through. But as usual, please, if you're new, if you've been here before, whatever it is, drop your name in the comments. Let us know who you are. Are you an RN? Are you a nurse aide? Are you looking for a job with Worldwide? Are you just here to get some, English language tips and tricks? Whatever it is and whatever the reason is that has brought you into Kari's Corner, welcome. I am so happy that you are here. We at Worldwide are so happy that you are here. Those of you who have watched before, you know that I love seeing all of the countries where everyone is located, and that's just really exciting for me. As the show progresses, if you have any questions, we do have a host, a live person standing by. Shout out to Tracy, our marketing director. He is here to help answer all of your questions. It's your first time watching. Welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. But Tracy's there to answer questions. If Tracy can't answer them, I see them live. I'll respond to them live, and I'll do my best. I do not know all of the answers. In the grand scheme of immigration, I know maybe 5% of the answers. But just like you guys, I am learning as I go. And I'm just super excited to be here. Tanzania. Oh my goodness. That's still one of my favorite. I say it every single time. So as people are joining, here in the United States, this is your kind of fun February fact for the week, if you will. Ghana. Oh my goodness. I was at gymnastics last night, and for my daughter, I don't take gymnastics. That would definitely be worth filming and laughing at. But my daughter was at gymnastics, and there was a lady sitting next to me, and she was from Ghana, and so cool. She ended up moving to the UK, and she worked in Kensington Palace, and I was freaking out because I'm a huge British history buff. But Ghana, I could tell. I was like, you are not from the United States. You don't have that Southern accent like I do, lady. Where are you from? That's probably what I sounded like to her. Always to my Philippines people, my Filipino people, I'm so happy to have you guys. Our Filipino office, if you're anywhere near them, they're so amazing. Pop by and say hi. They're just the most fantastic group of people. I love our Philippines team. But what I want to do today is here in the United States, the month of February is called Black History Month. And we use this month to celebrate a lot of the African Americans or Black people who have made such a big impact here in the United States. And of course, since I'm talking to nurse aides and I'm talking to nurses, who I want to speak about today is Mary Eliza Mahoney. And she is the first certified African American nurse. She was born in Boston around the year 1845. Unfortunately, we don't have her exact birth date, but 1845 is the year she was born. She was educated in Boston. As a teenager, she knew she wanted to be a nurse. So how many of you guys can relate to that? That at a young age, you knew, I want to help people. And I'm okay with blood, so why don't I help people in the healthcare industry? So she knew she wanted to be a nurse, so she started volunteering at the New England Hospital for Women. And she did everything, much like a lot of you do, just to get your learning, your experience, whatever you have to do. She worked as a cook, a janitor, a nurse's aide. She did everything she could to get hands-on experience. And she did this for 15 years. Until she was admitted to nursing school. And the hospital she worked at actually had a very intensive nursing school. Around 72 applicants started the program. It was a 16-month program. only 4 people made it through the program. And at the age of 33, Mary Eliza Mahoney graduated nursing school as a certified nurse, becoming the first African-American certified nurse. She went on to do so many amazing things in her career, helping everyone, not just making a difference in the African-American culture and society. She helped everyone. What a message, and how powerful of a message that you as nurses, you help everyone. You don't care. That's your calling. You see someone in need and you help them. And that's so awesome and such a beautiful thing. And that deserves to be celebrated every day. But Mary Eliza Mahoney, she was known for her efficiency. She was also known for her patience, and she was known for her caring bedside manner. So as a nurse, and as nurses, you guys out there, to be known for those 3 things, I think all of you would agree. If they praise you and you're remembered for those things, that's such a super awesome thing. So Mary Eliza Mahoney sets an awesome example. She, of course, is one of the many, many, many countless African Americans who have made a difference here in the United States. So today, I just want to celebrate her and the impact and the road that she paved for nurses all over the globe, so that, I am now here speaking to all of you. Wonderful, wonderful people. So today we are going to talk about, I was a teacher for 15 years in public education. And of course, I love teaching. That's what I love to do. So today I'm going to put on my teaching gear again, and we are doing a writing workshop. So some of you, I know we get lots and lots of emails at Worldwide, and we love to hear from you. But I was praising someone yesterday because their email to us was so professional. It was so beautifully worded. And I was just like, wow. But so many people struggle with the writing task. And when you're looking, if you're taking an IELTS or a TOEFL, and you're looking for that overall band score of 6.5 or an overall IELTS score of 81, writing, you can't just focus. So many times we just want to focus on speaking, right? But writing is an area you can really use that to boost your score, to get you to that overall score. So don't forget, as important as individual band scores are, don't forget the importance of the importance of doing well in all sections. Don't just focus on one section, focus on all sections. So today we're going to be looking specifically at the writing portion, and I'm going to focus on the top 3 tests that I deal with, or that you guys take. And that, of course, is TOEFL, IELTS, and PTE. So looking at the TOEFL and IELTS are super, 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 super similar in their writing. TOEFL and IELTS both require 2 writing tasks. One is 60 minutes, one is 50 minutes. But the TOEFL, you have an integrated writing task and an independent writing task. And with the integrated writing task, integrated means that you're going to have to pull other skills. This isn't just going to be you writing something. You're going to have to do other things. So they're integrating the reading and the listening portion into their writing portion. So for that first task, you have to read a lecture, listen to a lecture, and then you'll be asked a question and you get 20 minutes to respond. The next portion is an independent essay, and this is something that all 3 major tests have. They all have an independent writing task. For the TOEFL, you get 30 minutes. For the IELTS, you get 40 minutes. IELTS, it's always going to be asking your point of view, or there's an argument and you have to take a stance on the argument, or a problem that you have to solve. Very opinion-based. For the TOEFL, the first task, however, a lot of times is to describe an image. And that image could be one of thousands of things. It could be a plant process. It could be photosynthesis. It could be how soap is made or how bricks are made. And you have to describe that particular process. Now, the PTE, of course, is a little different. They do have that 20-minute opinion-based essay. So the PTE does give you the least amount of time for that extended essay. 20 minutes is all you get. And in the grand scheme of things, 20 minutes is pretty short, especially if you are not familiar with an American keyboard. And we had that discussion with PTE people last week, with Meredith from the PTE. If you're struggling with the keyboard, that's going to slow down your time. It can mess up your spelling, which can impact your grammar score. So many things. So Meredith gave us a great tip last week, and that is taking those free timed tests, those free timed typing tests, to really beef up your ability to write quickly, because 20 minutes, holy smokes, that's crazy. Oh, very good. Welcome. It looks like Ferrari, but I'm probably wrong. I sincerely apologize. But Zimbabwe, certified by the Red Cross, super, super, super cool. Welcome. So we're going to move on and talk more in depth about scoring. How are they scored? How are all three of these tests scored? TOEFL is scored with a combination of AI, which stands for artificial intelligence, and certified human raters. So you have a combination. A lot of times that AI is going to be checking for grammar, spelling, easy things for the computer to catch on. Whereas the certified human raters are going to be looking for meaning. Did you actually answer the question? Because as much as we want to say, I've done a lot of research on this, I've used this myself, the AI or artificial intelligence, which I'm going to get into, as much as we want to say that they can behave like human raters, they're not. Robots can't replace humans for everything, right? It's hard for a robot to interpret meaning. And there's a lot of interesting articles about that. So TOEFL does a good job in using both AI and human raters. The IELTS, totally old school. They're scored by a certified human. And they're looking at 4 areas. They're looking for task achievement, which, did you answer the question? Coherence and cohesion. So coherence is, does it make sense? And cohesion is, does it flow? Does it have a nice flow to it? Is it organized? Lexical resources, which are your word choices. And then finally, grammar. And again, IELTS is scored by a human. You can get on the IELTS, it's that band score. So of course, the 0 to 9 band score, and they also have that fun 0.5 that they can give you as well. PTE is solely scored, which is how they get you your results so fast. It is scored by a program called IEA, which is also known as Intelligent Essay Assessor. And scores range from 10 to 90. Now, I have done, I used to use the Pearson IEA when I taught middle school. We had Pearson textbooks, so we had access to their essay graders, right? And I would have students go in and respond to these essay prompts, and some of them would do, it was a beautiful job, beautiful essay, and they could get same thing, kind of like the TOEFL, a 0 to a 5. And they would get a 4. No matter what they did, they would get a 4. And I was like, this is beautiful. It's answering the prompt, whatever. And then, but they would have maybe, a couple grammatical errors. Whereas I had another student who had no grammatical errors, and he wrote his whole essay about Doritos, which are chips. So he got a 5, which we were all like, what? So I hate to say it. I hate to say it, but I just find human grading to be a more reliable scoring system. But the great thing about PTE is this is how they get their results to you so quickly. Now, this is not me telling all of you to go out there and write your essays about Doritos. No, don't write your nursing responses about chips, please, or snacks, or whatever unless the prompt is asking you about your favorite snack. Don't use your good hard-earned money to test the system here, is basically what I'm saying. Still go in and try to do your best. I'm just kind of giving you some commentary on why I believe a human rater, which, yes, humans do have biases. We do. We can't help it. We are flawed individuals. However, the automated essay scoring, just have really, really good grammar. That's my best tip for you. Really, really good grammar. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. And I'm going to go over 5 tips for all exams. A quick list so that you are prepared no matter what. Emily is laughing at, hopefully you're laughing at my Doritos story. It's true story. Not even kidding. I actually had a kid also go in and they did their whole essay and they got I think they got a 5 on it. And then they went back and wrote the whole thing backwards, like word for word, just wrote it backwards and they still got a 5. So I don't know. It's crazy. All right. So looking at some of these top 5 tips and tricks that I have for you, which, that's appropriate, right? English exam tips and tricks. Tip 1, stay on task. This is what I tell all of my students. Focus on what the prompt is asking. Sometimes you'll start writing and you go down what I like to call a rabbit hole. And you start writing about something and then you start writing about something else and you're so pushed for time, you forget to go back and check like, oh my gosh, did I even answer the question? We do that so many times when we're speaking, when we're nervous, right? Guess what? We do it in writing too. We'll start writing our essay and then, you start writing about how bricks are made. And then by the end of the essay, you're talking about, I think I want to build a brick home when I'm 45, which has nothing to do with the prompt. So always check back after every couple of sentences. Look at the prompt just to remind yourself, remind your brain, you've got a lot going on. Make sure you're staying off task, whether you are analyzing a graph, giving your opinion, constantly check to make sure you're answering the question. So many times people will just start writing because they're like, I have 20 minutes, I have to get this done. And they get off task and they end up writing about Doritos. So my next tip is organization. Organization is huge. It's so important in all 3. And when you're doing this extended response, specifically the extended response, you want to try to have 3 paragraphs, okay? You want to have an introduction, a body paragraph, and a conclusion. Believe it or not, conclusions are often the thing that's left off because we run out of time, right? So we don't get to wrap it up. We just kind of have to stop. And that actually takes off points. So having an organized, coherent, cohesive, it flows, introduce the topic, have the body topic, use great transitional words like first, give your first point. Second, give your second point. Finally, give your third point. And then, in your conclusion, just write in conclusion or in summation or in summary. Let the reader know, because that's one thing. When they're grading these essays really quick, especially if you've got the IELTS and the TOEFL, which are people, that's something that they're going to scan and they're going to look for. They're going to look for the introduction. They're going to look for first, second, finally, whatever your organizational words are, in conclusion. They're looking for those like nice, I like to call them road signs of writing, right? You're telling your reader, this is where I am. I'm going to talk about this now. Second, I'm moving on to my next point. Third, finally, moving on to my final point. So organizational words and direction words, roadmap words are fantastic and key to really pumping up that writing score. It also helps you, after you've written your first point, go back and read the prompt again. Okay, good. This answers that prompt. Do your second point, check the prompt again. Then finally do your third point, check the prompt again. Just make sure everything matches up with answering the prompt. I've talked to so many IELTS and TOEFL scorers who have said they don't answer the prompt. And that's why you don't get a good score. Answer the prompt. Greetings. Hello. I love seeing all these highs out there. Tip 3, grammar counts. Oh, grammar. I was I tutor sometimes on the side with high school students, and I was helping someone yesterday with grammar. Bless them. Woo, grammar is tough, especially American English grammar. Guess what, folks? It doesn't always make sense. You should look up comma rules just for fun, and you will see the longest website you've ever seen in your life. There are so many comma rules. It's just insane. And then when to use an apostrophe and when you're spelling things, if you're putting something in past tense, do you use ED? Well, for some words, not for all words. Grammar in American grammar is just atrocious and it's so hard to learn. It's so difficult to master. What's funny is a lot of international students, I've worked with a lot of international students in my time, and they will come to the US with much better grammar foundation than we as United States citizens. And the reason being is because in order to learn English, you have to understand English grammar. So I'm learning Spanish right now. I have to understand Spanish grammar. You know, a lot of times that the adjective of the word, like we would say, that's a pretty house. Well, in Spanish, it's house pretty. So you got to learn those grammar rules. Very, very, very important. But grammar is important to all three. Like I said earlier, especially the PTE as it is graded by artificial intelligence. Okay, and that's just something that's very easy to program, easy for them to catch. So tip 4 is going to be about word limit. All of these essays, all of these prompts, they give you a word limit. Meet the word limit. Meet the minimum. If you don't, they take off points. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. Meet the word minimum. If you don't, they will take off points. Good morning. Congrats for learning Spanish. Thank you so much. It's such a mess and it sounds so awful, but I'm really doing my best. I don't know if you guys probably know I'm talking to other adults, right? Learning a language as an adult is really, really hard. It's really hard. Training yourself to think in another language is just, man, it's really hard. So I'm here for you guys. I get it. It is a struggle. So writing, meet your word limit. Meet your word limit. For the IELTS, there's a minimum required for 150 for task 1, 250 for task 2. Hit the word limits. I cannot stress that enough. So many times people lose points and they're like, I don't understand what I did. And, you know, you'll look and be like, it's a tiny little snippet. And I'm like, that's not enough. That's not what they're looking for. So many of you too are like, and as nurses, you're trained to be professional and concise and to get the job done, right? Elaborating is not always your thing because you don't have time for that. You have patients. You have to go save lives. You don't have time to elaborate, right? For these exams, you've got to elaborate. So many of you are like, I answered the question. What else do you want me to do? This is when you have to put in fluff. Fluff. I hate calling it that, but that's what it is. It's fluff. It's bonus information that you don't really need, but it's just there to make it look pretty and bigger. Your 3-year-old is watching. Oh, and her first language is English. Oh my goodness. Hello. I'm so happy that you're watching. This is so exciting. I have a 4-year-old, but I loved the age of 3. So many people are like, 3 is so awful. I loved 3 for both of my children. So very, very, very good. Fluff, not easy. Oh, preach, because you're like, when I say preach, I mean, that's like, yes. But it's not easy. Fluff is not easy to come up with because especially as nurses, like your brains are not trained to give extra information just to give extra information, right? You are trained to be professional and concise. And these essays are asking you to just keep talking and keep talking, which that's why a lot of people struggle with the IELTS Part 2 speaking, because you just have to keep talking and you're like, I don't want to keep talking. I have nothing else to say. It's so hard, but that is something that you can really, really practice on. And a great way to practice that, I'm going to give you some tips on the end of a great way to practice hitting those word limits and adding fluff. As an English teacher, I hated it. I was definitely very much more of the, I don't want the fluff, answer the question, only put information that's relevant in there. But for these tests, for some reason, they just want to see you ramble on. Tip 5 finally is proofread. proofread your exam, okay? Proofread before you click submit. Always keep an eye on that timer. Give yourself about 2 minutes to go back and read your essay. If you can correct a couple of grammatical errors, great. If you change something real quick, great. Make sure before you proofread that you at least have, the 3 body paragraphs. Okay? She never speaks. Oh, your native tongue. What is your native tongue? Oh, nurses are usually concise with short sentences. Yep, that's exactly right. Tech writing back in those days. Oh, man. Yep, I understand. I hear you. There used to be a class, my husband had to take a class when he was in college that was manual writing. And they had to learn how to write instruction manuals that would go for, he was a physics major, so he hates writing. But he had to write step-by-step instructional steps for like programming your remote for your TV. So he was like, this is just ridiculous. So I can understand. So my 5 golden reminders. I had one candidate and I will never forget her. She was the only person I've known that is so good. She was so good at this. We would be working on speaking and she would do her extended speaking portion and then she would laugh when we were done. And I was like, what's so funny? And she'd be like, I totally made that up. I have no clue. I had to make it up. I couldn't answer the question. But she was so good at it. She was so believable. So I don't advise people to do that. Be honest. Be honest in your responses. Do not make up fun facts just to throw them out there because you never know who's reading your essay. They could be like, this is not true. I've been there. This isn't there. You never know. So be honest. And again, remember we talk about that human bias. If they read that in your essay and you've said something that's not true and they know it's not true, they're not going to score you very well because they're going to be like, well, this person's a liar. That's not the way it should be, but it always helps. Be honest. Be honest in your responses. Good evening in Singapore. So my big tip for today, this is like my favorite tip, is to journal. And I know that sounds very weird. We're not all like high school kids anymore. Like, dear diary, today was a good day. I didn't, die in PE, whatever it was. Journaling, when I say journaling, what I want you to do is I want you to find an American article. It can be a medical article. It can be about Prince William and Meghan Markle. It can be about whatever you want it to be. Just make sure that the language is English. Make sure it's written in English. And I want you to practice summarizing the article. Okay? You can do 2 things here. You can practice summarizing and you can practice giving your opinion. When you're summarizing the article, make sure you've got 3 points. Point 1, this is my takeaway from the article. Point 1 is this. Point 2 is this. Point 3 is this. Conclusion, right? Nice and organized. That's what you're looking for. Then practice giving your opinion. Randomly pick an article. Don't always pick something that you have an opinion on. So for example, if I was going to read about an article about archaeology and an archaeological dig, I don't have a lot of opinions on archaeology. I don't know very much about archaeology. So it would be difficult for me to write an opinion-based piece, 250 words, about archaeology. So the important thing here is go out of your comfort zone. Go out of your comfort zone when you're reading things, when you're writing things. If you don't ever expand your comfort zone with English and what you're practicing, you're never going to improve. That's just the sad reality. If we only do what we're comfortable with, how will we ever learn? And that's the goal here, right? We want to learn. So number 3, my tip is transitions. Work on those transitional words. First, second, finally, in summation. I'm always very, very, very big on when you're introducing your essay, do not say, today I'm going to tell you about. I know that's a go-to. That's just a go-to. Avoid that. Avoid all of that. Let me tell you about, or it's kind of like in your speaking, when you're walking down the road and you're casually having a conversation with someone and they say, hey, how do you feel about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? And you don't respond to them and go, today I'm going to tell you about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. No, you just jump right into the conversation, right? You say, well, in my opinion, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Don't need to preface it. Don't need to introduce it with very, those are what's called like canned responses. They don't sound very natural, and they show your reader that you're not very comfortable. You weren't comfortable or confident enough to start on your own. Number 4 is be aware of the time. Be aware of the time. Always know what's going on as far as time is concerned. And then finally, don't forget a conclusion. Don't, even if you look at the time, you've got 5 minutes left, wrap it up. Wrap it up. We got to go. We got to move on. Get to that conclusion. Even if you've only made 2 points in your body paragraph, that's fine. 2 points is great. Wrap it up. Okay. Don't forget the conclusion. That's huge. So many IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, so many of the scorers, those are things that they're programmed to look for. And if they don't see an in conclusion or in summation or in summary or to conclude, if they don't see that, that could be a ding on your score report. That could be a negative on your score report. Okay? Conclusions, very, very important. So speaking of conclusions, that's going to be the conclusion for today. Hello from Guatemala City. Oh my goodness, Guatemala is so cool. That's awesome. I'm so happy that you were here today. I'm so happy that you watched. Hopefully I was able to provide you with some good writing tips and tricks and all those fun things. If you are an RN and you are in stage 4, you've accepted a position with Worldwide, we're so happy to have you. Please, please, please reach out to your case manager and remind them, say, hey, I want to be in Kari Cooper's free ESL class. I would love to have you. Hello from Manila. I'm on vacation. I am officially jealous of you, Jace. I am not on vacation. I am working. But remind your case manager you want to take Kari Cooper's free ESL program as we prepare you for all of the wonderful exams out there. How can you catch? I am here every Thursday coming at you live and direct, Jace. Every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, or I like to call that New York time. Everybody knows where New York is. Not as many people know where Charlotte, North Carolina is. But I am so happy to be here. I'm so grateful that you were here. Please tune in next week. I'm really, really excited. We have a guest coming from CGFNS in a couple of weeks. So all of you are like, oh, CGFNS. They can answer my questions. So yes, we do have an amazing guest coming from CGFNS. They'll be on the show soon. And I'm very, very, very excited and thankful to CGFNS for them being willing to come on the show. So stay tuned for that. Check your inbox. Tracy and our marketing team, they're always so awesome at sending out those reminders. But you're amazing. No Clear Diamond, that would be you. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Please find your way into Kari's Corner again next Thursday. I will be here again, live and direct, giving you whatever knowledge I can give you. But remember, although you're here and you're in Kari's Corner, don't face the corner, face the world with Worldwide. Thank you so much for tuning in.